So today I'm going to talk about why you'd want to take your outline and turn it into a storyboard outline. Kind of talk a little bit about the benefits of doing that, how it's helped me, why I think it's important, and really if you need to do it or if you don't need to do it. But I also want to tell you a little bit more about me. The only thing I've ever written, it's just something that kind of came to me a little bit, and I realized that it's taking a long time to write, and I kind of want to document that process and put it online and help other writers that have the same questions and concerns or problems that come up when they're writing that I've had. So I've just had a million things come up that I didn't know the answers to, and I've had to figure out a way to get past that, and I just wanted to put those things out here to try and help the next person. And I also think it's going to be fun to try to kind of follow along with the story, and I'm going to be really transparent about what happens and how my writing goes and about my goals and how I'm following up on those goals. I want to talk about one of the main places where I personally go to find answers. I just want to give a shout out to Vivian Reese. She is an author. She wrote The Elysian Prophecy, and I can't really pronounce it. It's like an Elysian word. I can't say it. But she's on vivianreese.com. You can find her YouTube channel, her blog. I love all of the writing tips that she has. I go to her first for everything. If she doesn't have anything about it, then I'll continue researching, but she's very, very helpful, very impressive. I feel really like my story is similar to hers. So she went to school and became an engineer, got a professional job, got married, had a child, and now she's written a book, and I think she's actually very recently decided to retire from engineering, even though I think it's only been a couple years. I mean, I don't know her personally, but she's very open on her blog too. And she's just becoming a full-time writer, and I think that is kind of the dream. I mean, that's awesome that she's been able to do that. So very happy, congrats to her. But that's a resource that I feel really good about. And just anytime I have a question, the first place I go to is YouTube. Go to the bloggers, start looking. Another place I like to go is to my wife. She did go to school for English. She's very great. She can help me with little questions, and she kind of keeps me encouraged, and I'm very grateful to have her. Let's get back. Let's talk about outlining, taking your outline and turning it into a storyboard, why you might want to do that. So I've got my little outline right here. Not going to get into the specifics of it, but it's like, I don't even know how many pages it is. There's not page numbers on it, but I think it's like probably 30 pages long, something like that. Each page is, for the most part, it's a chapter. I don't have 30 chapters, so for the most part, maybe it's like I have 18 chapters. But some of the chapters go to the next page. But anyway, you can kind of see it's like there's the chapter, it breaks it down. I've got scenes, and then the descriptions of the scenes. There's another one. And the problem with this is you're kind of looking at it and you're like, okay, chapter 4, and you read the scenes, but it's hard to visualize when you do something like this. Okay, what's happening in this chapter? Who's in this chapter? Compared to what's going to happen in the next chapter, what happened previously, or when you're thinking about the passage of time. You're like, where are we really at in the length, in the overarching timeline of the story? It's just really impossible to see. And it's something I never could have really predicted. When you look at it on a computer screen, you can only see one page, and you kind of scroll up. You're constantly just scrolling up, and then you scroll back, and maybe you have multiple Word documents open at the same time, so you can try to look at two things at once. But it's really difficult for me to try to visualize the whole novel at once when I can only see one page at a time. I kind of went out there and I was just trying to figure out what you can do about this, and I came across Vivian Reese, and she talks about how it just came to her to make a storyboard outline. I think it's really interesting that she actually made that outline. It was like 120,000 words into her novel. I don't even know, like maybe I'm guessing that's like 300 pages at least worth of her novel, and she does talk about how it's going to be really long, but she didn't make her storyboard outline until the whole time she was writing before that, she did it without it. I haven't started writing yet, but I do have a very extensive outline. I want to get started this week, and then the day I actually get started, I'm going to write every single day. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that, but one of my biggest issues is that I could outline forever. I'm just that type of writer. I like outlining. It really helps me get a structure. I've started 2 other novels that I since decided to stop, and I got about 80 pages into both of them. And I never created a storyboard outline on those, but I did create extensive outlines. And I want to keep those, and you know, maybe I will finish them, but I am pot committed. I'm all in on this one. Not changing my mind on this one. This is the one I'm going to do first now. So I went to Walmart and I bought a cardboard cutout that's three sections, you know? And then I actually just printed a second outline and I cut it all up. Got some colored cardboard so it was easier to see, and I cut each scene out with the description attached to it. And then I put a piece of tape on, like a double-sided tape, stuck it onto the colored cardboard until I had a chapter. And then I stuck that onto the whole thing. When it's all done, you can see the whole book at once. You can see how your scenes interact. You can decide if, does this scene really fit best here in this chapter? When you're looking at it, you can decide, you know, foreshadowing. You can say, you know, here, oh, here's a great place to put in a little foreshadowing tip for something I want to do later. And it's just it's so much different the way you can visualize your whole book when you do it that way. Now, you do have to be done with your first novel, and you do have to have kind of a pretty good idea. I mentioned in the beginning of this whether or not you should do a storyboard outline. I mean, Vivian Reese said that even if you're a pantser and you don't like to outline at all, you should still do it. And you know, it would probably change the way you view your book. You may not want that. So I don't know that you necessarily should if you feel like that's the kind of writer you are. I mean, I think that if you did it, even if you were that kind of writer, it honestly would make you rethink a lot of things. But maybe you want it to be more of that, hey, this is just the way it came to me type of feel to the book. That's not me at all. I'm never gonna write again without doing the storyboard. I absolutely love it. I can see how long chapters are gonna be. I can see how many characters I want in each scene. I've gone down and written themes like, okay, this is a main theme of my book and put it here, here, and here. I can see how even everything is. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend doing it. And it's super easy. You just take your outline, you know, you cut it up, put tape on the back of it. I use tape instead of glue because it was just easy. You can kind of pull a scene off and reinsert it somewhere else if you want to, you know? That's why I did it. It took me literally like 2 days. You know, I mean, it does take a while. You cut everything up, you tape it all out. I just did it right on the living room floor, and now it's great. I look at it every time I sit down and think about editing or writing at all. So next time, I'm going to talk a little bit about a book that I just finished. It's called For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. Give you like my thoughts on the book, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the next book that I'm reading and how books, kind of reading books, are going to influence the writing that you're doing at that time. All right, thanks for following along.